Let me ask you something. You ever seen two guys in the same room, same industry, same level, same spotlight, and you just know something is off between them? Like the air gets heavier, like nobody wants to say the quiet part out loud? That's Roman Reigns and CM Punk, and look, I'm not talking about storyline beef. I'm not talking about what they write in the scripts. I'm talking about the real thing. The behind-the-curtain, locker room whispers, why does Roman always get quiet when Punk's name comes up kind of thing. Because here's what nobody is actually explaining to you. Roman Reigns doesn't just dislike CM Punk the way rivals dislike each other. This goes deeper, this goes back years, and once you understand the full picture, the politics, the egos, the timing, the moments nobody filmed, it all makes complete sense. So buckle up, because we're going all the way in today. Let's start with the most uncomfortable truth in WWE over the last decade. Roman Reigns spent years being resented by the audience, not because he wasn't talented, not because he wasn't physically gifted, but because WWE forced him down everyone's throats when the fans had already chosen someone else. And that someone, for a long time, was CM Punk, who was everything the audience wanted Roman to be. Sharp, real, the kind of guy who walked out there and said things that made you lean forward in your chair because you didn't know if it was a promo or just the truth. And when Punk left in 2014, there was this massive vacuum that WWE tried to fill with Roman. And now imagine being Roman Reigns, working your absolute hardest, doing everything the company asks, and every single night the crowd is either dead silent or actively booing you while chanting for a guy who packed his bags and walked out. That has to do something to you psychologically, that has to sit with you. And Roman didn't hate CM Punk from day one, but the seeds were planted right there. Now here's something that often gets glossed over in the flashy highlight packages. When CM Punk was at the top of WWE in 2011, 2012, into 2013, he was famously vocal about how the locker room operated. He called people out. He said in multiple interviews that there was a culture of politics in WWE, that certain guys got pushed not because they were the best, but because of who they were connected to. And Roman Reigns at that time was a newer talent, part of the Shield, being groomed, connected to the Anoa'i family, connected to Triple H, connected to the very structure of WWE's future planning. And while Punk never called Roman out by name in those years, to be fair, his criticism of the machine was clearly aimed at the system being built around guys like Roman. The locker room felt it. People took sides, and in wrestling, sides have consequences. So when Punk returned in 2023 and came back to a completely different WWE, the people were still there. Roman was still there. And all of that old energy didn't just disappear. It walked back through the curtain with Punk's entrance music. Let's be honest about something else. Both of these men have massive egos, and I mean that as a compliment. Because in professional wrestling, you need a massive ego. You need to believe you're the best person in that arena every single night. And that's what separates legends from decent workers. But here's the problem when you put two alpha-level, top-of-the-food chain egos in the same company. Somebody has to step aside, somebody has to play second, and Roman Reigns spent years, literal years, building himself into the tribal chief, rebuilding his character from the ground up, reinventing himself, becoming arguably the greatest heel of his generation, turning his weakness into a superpower. And that took time, sacrifice, and an almost inhuman level of discipline and focus. And then CM Punk walks back in, and the crowd erupts. And just like that, the conversation shifts. The who is the top guy debate reignites, and all that work Roman put in is suddenly being compared to a guy who wasn't even there. And that would bother anyone. That would bother the most mentally tough person on the planet. And Roman Reigns is not exactly known for hiding how he feels behind closed doors. Now here's where it gets really interesting. There are reports, and I want to be careful here because not everything that leaks out of WWE is gospel. But there are credible reports that when CM Punk's return was being discussed internally, Roman's camp was not enthusiastic, not at all. Because here's what Roman understood that a lot of fans didn't immediately grasp. Punk coming back wasn't just a nostalgia pop. Punk coming back was a direct challenge to Roman's positioning. And when you've worked as hard as Roman had to become the most important person in the company, and someone else gets that event-level reaction on day one without having done the daily grind, that creates real friction. And then you factor in Punk's personality. He is not someone who softens the message. He is not someone who plays nice to keep peace in the locker room. He says what he thinks, he challenges the structure, he makes noise. And Roman runs a very specific locker room culture built on respect, hierarchy, and control. And those two philosophies are not just different, they are almost perfectly opposed. So when you ask why Roman Reigns hates CM Punk, the real answer isn't one thing. It's everything stacking up over years. It's the feeling of being the guy the crowd rejected while Punk was who they wanted. It's the locker room politics that split people into camps. It's the ego collision of two men who both genuinely believe they are the guy. It's the return that threatened everything Roman had built. And this isn't just wrestling drama, this is human nature. This is what happens when two forces that can't coexist are forced to share the same space. And honestly, that's exactly why when they finally collide for real, it's going to be one of the most personal, most electric, most real matches we've ever seen. So drop a comment and tell me whose side you're on, Roman or Punk, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.